everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tyrion Cuthbert. Uh, where are we going? Oh, we're investigating. Let's go do a little bit of praying, huh? You arrive at the prayer room. It's now swarming with knights from the Inquisition. You find yourself staring at the chalk island where Pierce's body once was. You can't help but feel a little uneasy. You've been at plenty of crime scenes before, but even if you were unconscious, you were here when the murder happened. It's a little unnerving knowing how close you came to death. And also how nobody thinks it was us. It's kind of hype actually though, right? Like, if Steelwind didn't do it, then everyone would think it was us. And like, that's fair. Are you okay? But yes. But now's not the time for an existential crisis. Steelwind's future counts on you figuring out what happened. You still don't know what happened after you fell unconscious. The Inquisition believes that Steelwind broke into this room, knocked you and Pierce out, and then killed him. With Mage Blight, can someone even have that much planning? Wouldn't they just kind of go nutso with it? Wouldn't they just go sicko mode and just immediately go for the kill? But you remember clearly, you saw Beatrice before you lost consciousness. There's more at play here than you realize. Celeste also called Steelwind after Beatrice knocked you out. Perhaps she can tell you more about how she was acting. Alright, so about Steelwind. Let's review what happened. Before Beatrice knocked me out, we heard a commotion outside and you went to investigate. Can you tell me more about your fight with Steelwind? What was she like? Well, she wasn't her usual self. It's like she was in some kind of daze. I noticed it before she even attacked me. Something was wrong with her. No, yeah. And she didn't even respond to me when I tried to talk to her. It's like she didn't even recognize me. But from what Lord Asclepius said, she would have been acting more erratically if she was affected by Mage Blight. It's possible that you fought someone disguised as her? I guess that's possible. But whoever they were, their magic was still extremely powerful. And several members of the Four Pillar families were assembled here. It could have been one of them. We should speak with Commander White when we get the chance. The Grand Cathedral was closed from the public for whatever was happening here. They probably have a list of everyone who was present when the murder happened. This means that whoever did this was one of the nobles that was here today. Alright. Beatrice can cast invisibility, so I doubt she'd let you see her. But you did see her. But did you see her at any point when you were fighting Steelwind? Celeste? Sorry, I don't know. I'm just too focused on staying alive. I've actually been meaning to ask you about that. Aren't you really strong? I've never even seen you break a sweat in a fight before. Well, she was really tough. It was terrifying, honestly. It was mainly her magic. I've never fought someone with spells that powerful before. She didn't hurt you, did she? No, but we got pretty close. I think she realized that she couldn't beat me, so she just ran past me into the prayer room. So her real target was Pierce, or why? Did you see the moment she murdered Pierce? No. When I arrived at the prayer room, I saw you and Steelwind unconscious on the ground. And Pierce was already dead. And I'm assuming you didn't see Beatrice anywhere? No. She wasn't there when I arrived. Did she leave the prayer room without Celeste noticing? Did she turn herself invisible? Alright. Timeline. We showed up at the prayer room for the meeting at 1:50 p.m. Then we interrogated Pierce for about half an hour. That's when we heard the commotion outside, and you went to investigate it. Right. And I think Beatrice knocked me and Pierce out 10 minutes after that. How long did you fight Steelwind before she pushed past you? We definitely fought for a while. Must have been at least 20 minutes. After that, she gave up on fighting me and ran into the prayer room. Which means that Beatrice somehow got into the room during the fight. Apologies. That discounts my theory of her disguising herself as Steelwind. Gosh, my throat's all messed up. You regained consciousness at 3:12 p.m. That means you were knocked out for more than 40 minutes. There are still a lot of unknowns about what happened. You'll need all the pieces if you want to put this puzzle together. Alright?
Prepario Arcanum!
Right. Oh, there's a trace of transmutation here. It's all over the area around his body. Interesting. Did the murderer wound him using a transmutation spell? There's a trace of necromancy on the ground here. It's probably from when I tried to heal you. Why isn't there any, transmutation magic from the sleeping spell? Or magic trace from the sleeping spell? You'd think they'd be all over the floor. There are traces of conjuration magic all over the room. That must have been left by Beatrice's sleep spell. Makes sense. What if everyone was gonna go crazy? Or like Beatrice was like trying to protect us by making us sleep? Like what if she thought Pierce was the one who's gonna go berserk? I don't know. These stained glass windows, they look quite nice. There's a chalk outline what Pierce's body probably was. It looks like he was sitting against the altar when he died. The bloodstain, an autopsy report would be really helpful here. You should ask the commander for a copy of it next time you see him. Fair enough. Anyways, it looks like you found everything you can here. You should move and take a closer look at the other crime scenes. Alright. Alright, we've got a bunch of crime scenes. Whoa. You retrace your footsteps and find the common room. This was the last place we saw Von Sanctus and Sybil before everything happened. You look around and see that most of the room has been entirely scorched. You can smell the scent of burnt cloth and flesh in the air. What happened here? Is there some kind of fire? Yeah, we think the bird lit a fire using magic. As you enter the room, Commander White approaches you. He seems to be accompanied by the typical Legion of Knights. Commander White. Hey, kid. Investigating what happened too? Something like that. I just want to figure out what really happened. You and me both. Nothing about this case makes any damn sense. I'll be honest, I could really use your help in trying to figure this one out. Honestly, I'm not sure who you can trust at this point. But the commander is leading the investigation, and he's found enough information that will be useful to you. Alright, let's talk about murder. The whole situation is a damn mess. Has the Inquisition found any clues to explain what happened? We only have the basic stuff so far, and we've only just received the autopsy reports. That's still pretty useful. You have copies of them. Sure, knock yourselves out. 345, we look about, what, 316? Cause of death of loss, a shard of frozen liquid was found stabbed through his heart. Fitting. It is very likely that this was a murder weapon. That also makes sense with the transmutation magic. Okay. Died at 218. 245, okay, so Sybil died first, that makes sense. Invocation and necromancy magic. What's with the necromancy magic? Was that from another healer? Was that from Guthman? Her body was floating in a nearby lake. Oof. Can't believe she got full Laura Palmered. He died first. Suffocated. The fire in the common room burnt the body too much to discern any specific wounds he might have suffered. Oof. No trace of evocation, magic, and a burn mark were found on the victim's left shoulder. This implies the body was hit with a fire-based evocation spell. Traces of abjuration magic were found on and around the body. Wait, Pierce was killed with a frozen blade. Isn't that similar to how he killed Flintheart? Sorry, I didn't mean to... No, it's okay. It's so strange, though. Why would the murderer kill Pierce using such a convoluted method? If Steelwind really was affected by Mage Blight, he wouldn't have done something like that. Right. Anyways, the time of death also seems to tell a story. If we look at the reports, the murderers must have killed Von Sanctus, then Sybil, then Pierce in that order. Yes, that's our working theory too. If we look at this map, we can see where the prayer room and the common room are. Penny Sybil's body was found in the lake west of here. Since the Grand Cathedral was built on a cliff, there isn't an easy way to get there in such a short amount of time. So that raises my next question. How did Sybil's body end up in the lake? Steelwind threw Von Sanctus from the balcony. Ended up in west of the cathedral. Okay. Simple explanation. Oh, wait. Sybil with a spell? This has to be like the murderer? Oh. Sorry, I meant to accuse you, Steelwind. The Grand Cathedral was built on a cliff over the lake, and the westward balcony just happens to be right over it. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. We even have a witness who saw Steelwind there. Really? Who was it? It was High Speaker Theon Arceus. High Speaker? He's the shot caller of the Church of Bahamut, and he stands at the top of the religious hierarchy from what I hear. He spotted Steelwind near the west balcony and noticed that she was acting suspicious. He called out to her, but she ignored him. So she knew that he saw her, but she didn't attack him? Yeah, he really lucked out. But if she was having a psychotic episode, he would have noticed that. From what you said, all she did was ignore him. You're right. The whole Mage Blight story doesn't really add up. Either way, we'll just have to talk to him directly to find out more. Putting that aside, there's something else that's strange. Now, what's that? It's about the order the murders occurred in. Von Sanctus, Sybil, and Pierce. The murder went to the common room, then the west balcony, then the prayer room. If you look at the map, the murder's route seems a bit strange. The murderer purposefully killed Sybil second. Common room, okay, prayer room. The murderer must have passed by the prayer room right before they dumped Sybil's body. Why wouldn't they just murder Pierce on the way there? Maybe they wanted to dump Sybil's body first. Or they were afraid of finding me. Aren't you giving yourself a little too much credit? No, she has a point. Out of everyone who fought the murderer, Celeste was the only one who didn't die or fall comatose. Anyways, there has to be a reason why the murderer deliberately chose that route. Fine. Sure. I don't know how to make heads or tails of it, but... yeah, that's odd. Okay, you've created a rough outline of the murderer's actions. But the real clue is the line how each of the individual murders occurred. And that starts with figuring out how Von Sanctus was murdered. How were the murders discovered? How did the Inquisition find out about the murders anyway? Did a witness come across the bodies? It all started when Prince Alaric ran up to us. He told us that he saw a fire breaking out of the common room. He also saw Steelwind there, but when he tried to talk to her, she hit him with some kind of spell. She attacked one of the princes? Yeah, but it didn't look like she hurt him. That guy from House Asclepius inspected him, and he told us he wasn't injured. I'm glad that he's okay, but wouldn't Arya have used a more violent spell if she was being affected by Mage Blight? It's possible that she was throwing spells right, and he just happened to get really lucky. I suppose that's possible? But was there anyone else nearby when this happened? I would have expected a Prince of Wyvern to be under constant guard. Yeah, that was kind of my mistake. I ordered the knights to give him some space considering what just happened. And that would be... Sorry, kid. If you don't know, it's not my place to tell. I have orders from the top to stay quiet about that. Alright, now someone higher up. It's still strange, though. Why would all these nobles gathered here? Anyways, whatever the perp hit him with, it only put him in a daze. He could barely walk or talk. He couldn't even approach us until the spell had worn off. And the weirdest about it all is that he was pretty close to where we were. But for some reason, we didn't find him until after the spell wore off. That must have been traumatic. I hope he's okay. Why didn't anyone see him during this time? Did she turn him invisible? After he told us about what was happening, we went to put out the fires. That's when we saw a bunch of guards knocked out outside the prayer room. Did you see me? No. This all happened around 3:10. Right. That was probably well after Steelwind moved into the prayer room. Celeste must have already followed her into it. Okay. Comatose guards. When you arrived at Steelwind, I recall you mentioning that a bunch of guards were comatose. Did the murderer use some kind of spell to knock them out? I don't think so, and I'm just as lost as you are about that. Some of the victims don't have any magical traces on them, so we know that they're not under the effects of the spell, but they still haven't woken up. That's odd, to say the least. Is there any common thread between the knights who fell comatose? That might help us deduce what happened to them. Well, we found all of them at the locations where Steelwind was spotted. That can't be a coincidence. They just admitted that they weren't being affected by any kind of spell. What's going on here? Perhaps they were hit on the back of the head with a really large hammer. I don't know, it's demon bullshit. Red or white? I keep saying the perp instead of Steelwind. Even though everyone else seems to think she was responsible for this, do you also suspect that she's being framed? It just doesn't add up. If she did give herself Mage Blight, her actions wouldn't have been so deliberate. And she's definitely not the type of person to just go around murdering people. Even if she was, she's led a lot of Inquisition investigations recently. She's investigated plenty of homicides with us, and she knows exactly how we do things. Whoever did this got the job done, but they were sloppy about it. A bunch of witnesses saw her, and she didn't even try to hide herself using her magic. So either she had Mage Blight, which doesn't match with her behavior, or she did this intentionally and wanted to get caught. Neither scenario makes any damn sense. Someone has to be framing her. That's the only reasonable explanation. Honestly, I'm not so sure about that either. What do you mean? You saw her when we arrested her, didn't you? She wanted us to lock her up. It's like she thought she was a danger to herself and others. Right. That's the same impression I got as well. If it weren't for the witnesses' statements, I'd be sure she gave herself Mage Blight. The strangest thing is, I've never seen her that scared before. Something really rattled her about what happened. Guess we'll have to talk to her about that. Did you follow up on what I said about Beatrice? I know she was in the room when Kias and I found conscious. Who's gonna be prosecutor? It's not Steelwind? Ooh, that's gonna be fun. New prosecutor. She has to be involved in this somehow. What should just be, Von Karma from Ace Attorney 1. That'd be funny. Well, she's already in prison, so we're already ahead on that account. But when we asked her what happened, she said that she couldn't remember anything. That's such an obvious lie. She has to be hiding something. Normally, I'd agree with you, but she's not the only one with missing memories. Steelwind also can't remember anything. What? It looks like you'll have to speak with her about that. Anyways, what was Eris on that night? What about Eris on that night who was guarding her? Did they see anything? Sorry, kid. But Eris Illmatter's been missing since everything went down. What? Do you have any idea what happened to her? No, but I wouldn't be too worried. What? A witness to the crime is missing and possibly hurt. Look, kid, you may be a hotshot attorney, but I've been in this business a lot longer than you have. Sometimes when these things happen to civilians, they get spooked and run away. I've seen it a million times. I feel like he's not making a big deal of this as he should be. He might have a point. Eris is the daughter of a crime lord after all. She might have gone into hiding to avoid having to speak with the law enforcement. We don't have the resources to look for her, but I'm sure she'll turn up eventually. Well, I suppose we can't do anything about that now. But I still hope she's okay. Anyways, what about the night guarding Beatrice? Surely he didn't go missing as well. That's the thing. The knight who was supposed to be watching her is one of the people who went comatose. We found him in front of the prayer room, too. Damn it all, what happened to him? To make matters worse, that Frege chick knows how to cast invisibility. So even if she was telling the truth, very few people would have actually seen her. But our guard was in front of the prayer room. She must have brought him there somehow. Okay. Anyways, would you happen to have a recent version of the spell compendium? Sure, we already have it on record. Alright, well that works. Familial bond, mend wounds. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. What the fuck? Sure. I remember you. Yep. What's this one? The caster must target a creature that's already unconscious. While they concentrate on the spell, the target will appear to be dead. That's important. Okay. Right. I forgot how many spells she knew how to cast. It's all a little difficult to take in. So I can believe it. After everything he did, Von Sanctus was just murdered. I'm surprised to hear that from you. Didn't he basically get away with off in Justin way? The way I see it, he got what he deserved. This doesn't sit right with me. No matter who the victims might have been, no one deserves to die like that. You're definitely a bigger man than I am. Anyways, Von Sanctus's autopsy reports that he died of suffocation. We think the murderer overpowered him and choked him with a rope or something. That hardly sounds like something someone would do during a psychotic episode. Yeah, the more info I get, the more I think you might be onto something. But either way, that fire the perp started in this room burned his body. It didn't completely turn to ash, but it was still pretty charred. So that fire would have burned away any evidence of the minor wounds he had. Yeah, we're lucky we even discerned he was hit with an evocation spell. Right, the autopsy report mentioned that too. But if a fire was started, it is possible that he died from smoke inhalation? No, the divination spell that we use always identifies smoke inhalation as death by poisoning, not death by suffocation. I suppose that kind of makes sense. But it's still a shame we can't find out how the murderer suffocated him. Phew. We still know very little about how the murders occurred. Do you have any records of each of the victims' spell compendiums? It might help us understand what each of the victims was doing during the attack. Sure, knock yourselves out. Okay. So fall, that's interesting. Mage Blade. Alright. I'm just reading this because I don't want to read this all out too much. Cast water. That is a lot. Not all of these can be useful. That's interesting. Huh. Some of these are real interesting. Oh, Repario Arcanum. Stone Skin. That's interesting. Okay, wow, that's a lot to work through. Yeah, so sorry about that, y'all. Yep, this is what happens when a bunch of mages are caught in the middle of a murder. Honestly, you've been lucky up till now. Nevertheless, I'll need to look over each of these spells when they become relevant. Oh, thank God we're done talking. Back. There's scorch marks all over the room. The fire must have spread pretty far. Yeah, it was probably going for a while. No one even noticed it until Prince Alair told the King's Guard that he saw smoke. Interesting. We should speak with him and see if he saw anything else. Even now, the sunlight is shining through the stained glass windows. It looks like the fire reached them before it was put out. There are traces of evocation in a bunch of different spots around the room. We think that the burp threw a bunch of fire-based evocation spells around to start the fire. And the King's Guard used a bunch of water-based evocation spells to put it out before the fire spread. Makes sense. With that knowledge in mind, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. There's a trace of abjuration magic in the center of the room. The traces overlap with the body. Kind of? It's sort of square-shaped? Square-shaped. I can't see the traces, but there also seems to be a square-shaped outline around the body. You're right. You overlap perfectly. The area inside the square is a lot less burnt now that I look at it. I'm not sure what this means yet, but it's something worth taking note of. Okay. There's a trace of evocation magic near the body. That matches his autopsy report. The murder must have hit him with an evocation spell. Oof. Alright, that's everything related to Von Sanctus. Let's move. Let's go to the west balcony. You're over the west-facing balcony of the cathedral. Supposedly, this is where the murderer threw Sickle's body into the lake. Oh, hello there. Okay. Hey, Francis. As you inspect the area, you catch the attention of an old man nearby. From his garb, he appears to be someone who works at the cathedral. I don't believe you met before. But what are you doing here? Oh, sorry for the intrusion. I'm Tyrion Cuthbert, and this is my bodyguard, Celeste McCoy. We're investigating the murders on behalf of Prosecutor Sealwind. Tyrion Cuthbert. I have heard. He doesn't look nearly as criminal as I expected him to be. Judging from his class, he probably hasn't heard many good things about you. Forgive my rudeness. I am Theon Arceus, High Speaker of the Church of Bahamut. I bet you did it. So you're the one who saw Steelwind here during the murders. You mind if we ask you some questions? He scans you warily. I suppose there would be no harm in that. We heard that you saw the prosecutor acting strangely here. Could you tell us more about what you saw? Did it look like she was having a psychotic episode? I would go that far, but she was certainly acting suspiciously. How did you come across her? Well, I was on my way to the prayer room. I always recite prayers from the draconic texts around that time. Here's into the prayer room. When I saw her, I first thought she was enjoying the view of the lake. I was about to greet her, but when I approached her, I saw that she was throwing something off the edge of the balcony. I must have seen her dumping Sybil's body. You're probably correct. I came to the same conclusion after they found that poor woman's body below us. Although, what is it? I only saw it for a second, so perhaps I'm wrong. Lady Sybil was wearing much brighter colors this morning. Whatever Lady Seal went through in the lake, it looked much darker. What does that mean? I'm sorry, I can't really explain it. Perhaps I was just seeing things. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, after all. It could have just been a trick of the light. Okay. The prayer room. Wait, if you saw AotA dumping Lady Sybil's body, she must have just murdered her. That means you must have been heading to where we were at that time. Oh, were you praying there with Lord Pierce? Not exactly. What? That's not what the guards told me. The guards? Do you mean the ones standing watch outside the prayer room? Yes, they told me that Pierce was praying with some acquaintances of his. They said the same thing to Lady Steelwind as well. Wait, Steelwind was there too? Yes, she appeared to be waiting for something. But anyways, I didn't want to disturb them, so I went back to my quarters to pray there. The High Speaker didn't see her fighting Celeste. She must have started her attack after he left, but why would she bother waiting? Either way, we can't exactly question those gods. Yeah, they're still comatose after the attack. Weird. Why didn't you hear anything? Actually, the High Speaker's quarters aren't that far away from the prayer room. How did you not hear anything? Ah, it must have been because of the magical wards in my room. Magical wards? Are they there for security reasons? Not exactly. I actually suffer from chronic insomnia. Even the smallest sound will wake me up at night. Years ago, I had some mages enchant the walls so sound can travel through them. I can't hear anything from outside the room once I shut my door. That sounds awfully convenient. Are you dedicated to lie about something you could so easily verify? Either way, we should make a note of this. Okay.
Repario Arcanum.
There are traces of transmutation on the pieces of this debris. I would imply that a spell specifically targeted or created whatever this came from. But I doubt someone created these bits of gravel. It must have broken off from something else. This balcony provides a perfect view of Lake Galacron. A lot of the people probably come here when the Grand Cathedral is open to the public. I can see a military stronghold in the distance. We must be able to see a lot from that high up. Is that all? I have to present you with things? So you have heard of me, High Speaker? I have. He's not what I was expecting. You shouldn't believe every story you hear from the aristocracy. I don't know what you mean. Did you know Coraline Sybil? She was the head of one of the four pillar families. I did. It's quite unfortunate what happened to her. Of the four families, I felt that House Sybil was the one that most loyal to the church. Alright. I feel like I have to move. I feel like I'm done here. Actually, Okay, I'm done with the episode. On the next episode, we'll... Here. I guess next we'll go to the nave. Who's in the nave? Oh, never mind. Next episode, we'll go to the garden. Alright, see y'all next episode. Bye.